dancing around my living room, waiting for my friends. Hey! Hi, friends! Welcome! Yay! Oh, I'm so excited! Yay! So many of my favorite people from all over the world. Yay! Welcome so much, everybody. Yay! Big love to you in Bangkok. Oh, yay. Okay. Welcome, everyone. So this is a level 1 fun flow. If I've been starting off all of these classes, inviting everyone as we're having the room settle, just vibe up your space. If you want some music while you're practicing, get that set up. You can change the lighting around, move some things around. Just make sure that you feel really like this is your yoga space and you are ready for the yoga. Yes, for life. Okay? Someone's over here, they want to say hi as you're vibing up your space. Simbies? Simbies? You want to say hi, everybody? Meow. 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 That's what she sounds like, I swear. It's not me. Meow. Meow. Simba Lion, that's right. Okay. For class today, I'm also going to recommend that you have 2 blocks. And again, WOW classes, and if you're very flexible, you won't need these. This is for those who have tighter hamstrings and hips. Okay, now this level 1 flow, I think it's a great one for advanced and beginner practitioners because we're gonna take time to really comb through alignment in a sophisticated way for just plank, chaturanga, up dog, like walking through the possibilities. A lot of times we think that there's one right way to do the pose, and I'll give you some offerings so you can feel what's best in your body today. I think the ability to decipher what's best for us these days is so incredibly important because all of our bodies are so different, and outside information is confused in a lot of ways, and trends come and go. The more you can practice self-reliant and knowing what feels good, whether it be in your shoulder joint or thoughts that you're having or something in your gut, we're going to practice tuning into the more subtle muscular energy, noticing where our head's at and seeing how that affects how we feel, like what our vibe is. And then once we do all that, we will, as someone here said, I'm the queen of handstand. And so even though this is a level 1 class, don't worry. This is a level 1 handstand. So we're going to practice as we go through the vinyasas, kicking up toward a handstand. Now, if you're like, Marisha, like I put this in my schedule. I'm a level 1 practitioner. I don't want to do handstands. It's okay. I gotcha. All right. What beginners will do if you have the fear, you just bend the knee and practice hopping it back. And that's your handstand hop. The trick part of this transition is having the head and the chest go forward. So it's like plank to chaturanga in the arms. But what tends to happen is when we kick up, we tend to kick back. So we're gonna do some work to practice that movement of taking the chest forward as we hop up. Because I know there's also a few pros in the virtual room right now, you can practice kicking up, maybe finding a second here. If you want to bring the legs together, great. This position is usually easier to hang out in, and then you push it back. Okay? Simba's excited about the handstands. You guys excited? I think we're gonna have lots of fun. I will save this live, don't worry. Okay, so go ahead and find yourself in a cross-legged position, and if you have tighter hips, you can sit on a block. That ought to make you more comfortable. And then once you sit, switch the crossing of the legs. So cross your legs the unusual way. I love doing that. Okay. Close your eyes and just notice if you feel a difference. And if you have never paid attention, just notice what it feels like. Trust where you are and see if you can be more perceptive of what's going on within your body on this muscular level. Once again, if you haven't already, close your eyes. And begin to notice in more detail the feeling of where your feet are against your legs. The feeling of where your hands are against your thighs. Let's start with just that. Where are your feet crossing? How do you consider or feel? And it doesn't need to be in descriptive terminology. It's just a feeling, and feelings a lot of times transcend words. This isn't a big, bold feeling, but it's something. Let's just see if we can practice tuning in and getting more interested in the mundane, the things we take for granted, pass by, just in this little moment here. Feel which part of your hand is resting on your thighs. So you don't need to look. For me, it's the part of my palm closer to my wrist. And then there's a gap between that part and the tip of the pinky finger. There's a gap between that part and the pinky and the thumb on my left hand, but on my right hand, my thumb is more grounded into my thigh. Continue on and distill your energy by simplifying your focus. Notice where your mind went. If you went on another journey. And then come back to this moment. Don't worry, we'll do handstands, we'll do lots of stuff. Life's got a lot on deck for you. But let's just savor this a little longer. And then from here, feel the breath moving through your body. Don't change it. Let go of this idea of a right style yoga breath for now. Just breathe. And feel how without any effort, it moves through you. We're all different. Notice how when you're not conscious of it, or when you're not manipulating it, your body breathes. You may notice your stomach inflate or your chest. Or if you spent more time paying attention to your breath, you may notice what part of your lungs you're breathing into. Or where most of the breath goes or exits from. A few more moments of observing, appreciating the natural breath. One of my meditation teachers says that the most powerful gift that anyone can give another, that we're demanding of each other constantly, is that of our attention. Give your breath your attention for now. Give it that respect. Notice if your breath changes with the dropping in of that intention of appreciation. Gifting yourself, your breath, with your attention. Open your eyes. We'll begin with a round of Kapalabhati breathing. So this is rapid breathing or breath of fire. And your exhales are going to be sharp and your inhales are going to be involuntary. And as you do this, set the intention of firing up the core. So every exhale, there's a snapping back of the belly. Every inhale is involuntary. If you're curious to feel it, you can place a hand on the chest or the stomach. I prefer just the stomach. We'll begin with a round of 30 and we'll build from there. Inhale halfway and begin. Exhale completely. Drop your chin to your chest. Hold empty. Inhale, lifting the chin, and exhale out your mouth. Take a natural breath out your mouth. I'm going to do the next round closer to the camera so you can hear it. It's like a dog panting. Inhale halfway and begin. Exhale completely. Push more air out, more air out, more air out. Drop the chin to the chest, hold. Lift the chin, inhale. Feel the sensations around your shoulders, your neck. Feel the energy in your body now. Feel your natural breath now. Last round, inhale halfway and begin. Exhale completely, push more air out than you usually would. Push more air out, hold on empty, feel the belly contract, feel the center of the chest is lifted. Hold here, drop the chin. Inhale. Ha. Feel alive. Roll out the shoulders, up, back, and down. Stretch out the neck, so go ahead and drop your right ear to the right shoulder. Take your right hand over your head, and for now, don't put too much weight in the hand, just let it be passive. You can reach your other fingertips away, or if you want, take the hand behind your back to deepen it. Feel the opening up of the muscles by the sides of your neck. And then switch sides. So as we're doing these slower, in this case, static action, just feel. So often we do things and we're totally checked out. I know I'm guilty of completing a whole meal without really tasting my food. stop doing that. Come back to center. Drop the chin forward. One side back, other side down, the other way. Cool. One more roll of the shoulders. Take your hands forward and come into a hands and knees position. And I'm going to use this block to help demonstrate what we're going to be working on with the hands. So for most of us, especially if you have sensitive wrists, I recommend grounding down this thick knuckle into the mat. So go ahead and see if you can feel the weight move off of the base of the wrist and more into the fingers as you press down through there. So that's one of the more conservative approaches. When it comes to handstands and balancing, curling that knuckle up can be helpful for balance, but a more conservative approach for the wrist, just to set a precedent and not sink into an unconscious habit of letting this knuckle lift, which puts the wrist in a vulnerable position. We want to keep the base of the index finger, this guy here, grounded. We want to keep the base of the middle, ring, and pinky finger, all these guys grounded, the webbing here, and then you can try and see how it feels if you start to ground through here as well. Many of us feel a lightness happen in the wrists. If that doesn't work for you, continue to play around until you find something that does. But for everybody, I really encourage the grounding of the base of the index finger. But we're all structured differently, and so you have the freedom to be you, to explore, to make mistakes, all of it. It's all good. All right, from this position, we're going to reorient our fingertips sideways and rock side to side, and see if you can feel the grounding of the knuckles like that. Maybe the tips of the fingers press down as well. And then reorient your hands back so the fingertips point to your knees. And then you can do slow little pulses back if you're like, oh, that's a lot of feels there, Marisha. Then if you're already feeling a lot, you don't need to do much more. I'm actually a little jealous. And then turn your hands around, place the backs of the palms down, fingertips point toward the knees, and you're moving the arms towards straight. If it is, making you want to cry, getting the arms straight, then you probably shouldn't do that. Figure out what works for you and trust it. And then release. All right, from here, we'll play with actually, let's just drop into a cow position. And in the cow position, you're going to stick your butt up. You'll let your chest sink and you'll lift your shoulders up. From here, start to draw the shoulder blades toward each other back and then push the floor away. So we're not sinking down. This is a setup actually for up dog. We want to feel that we're pushing the floor away from us and lifting up here as the buttocks start to reach skyward. And while you're in this position, you may want to invite a little bit of that energy that you had during the Kapalabhati, that snapping back of the breath. See if you can feel a little lingering of that feeling in your low belly as you draw the belly back. And then we'll do the opposite. Tuck the tailbone, drop the head, and round the back. And in this position, we're still pushing the floor away. Feel that the head and neck is relaxed, and then pull the belly back a little bit more. So this is super scared cat. And then inhale, drop the belly, keep the shoulder heads lifting. And exhale. 2 more, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Hold your cat position, but begin to straighten your spine. So extend the sternum bone forward, but keep your tailbone tucked. So the chest reaches forward, and you can feel your chest peer forward through the gate of your shoulders. So the upper back is mostly flat, and there's a tucking of the tailbone. Now, we'll focus on the lower body. See if you can feel, and you don't need to get it right. We're just thinking about what the natural curvature of the spine is. So start to stick your butt up just enough to feel comfortable. What does comfortable feel like for you? What feels natural? Go with that. Keep the belly drawn back and step the feet back, plank pose. Hold here. Take the shoulders forward, back, 2, 3, and then down dog. Pull the hips up and back. Okay, so plank and down dog, the feet should be mostly the same distance. I just want to make sure I fit in the camera. All right, from here, if your heels are high off the floor, great. If your knees are bent, great. If your heels are down, great. If your legs are straight, great. See, there's a theme here. It's all good. Okay, so from this position here, you're thinking of those heels drawing down. If you're someone who brings the heels down really easily, then you can start to think of tucking the tailbone. What that does, just want to make sure I don't hit this thing over here. For those of you who are interested in learning to stabilize the pelvis more, practicing down dog with the tailbone tucked, and again, this is only for flexible people, makes the hop to handstand a bit easier. If your knees are bent or it's really hard to reach the floor with your heels, then think of sending the buttocks up, but not so much that you're in a cow position. Keep the core engaged. And then in the upper body, notice if there's a compression, and you can feel it, you don't need to see it. But notice, for me, you may want to look, but on your body, we're going to develop the ability to sense where you are. Later, you can film yourself. All right, rather than sinking in the shoulders, push the floor away. And then talk to the muscles outside the arms, the triceps, and see if you can hug them to the midline as you push the floor away. Simultaneously, you're feeling the core below your rib cage hug into the back body. Really energized through here. The hands are drawing together, and then you can start to think of the feet drawing together. Look back at your feet and see the inner arches of your feet. So think of that inseam of the foot lifting up through the calves, through the inner thighs, through the pelvic floor, through the low belly, and extending through the crown of the head. There's this one continuous stream of uplift. Simultaneously, from the sides of your body, you're thinking of the outer ankles hugging in, the outer hips hugging in, the arms hugging in. See how engaged, how present you can be with as many different cells in your body right here in the down dog. To do so, just take a few of the alignment notes I offered or a part of your body that's talking to you and connect with it. What does she mean? Lift the inner arches of my feet. I don't know what that is. Keep thinking about it. Attention builds connection. Inhale, plank pose. Continue to feel the arms hugging in. The belly is lifted. And then go ahead, place your knees down. From this position, you're going to take your chest forward of your hands and drop it down, and the chin will come down. So this is the knees, chest, chin. All right? Here, feel what's happening in your pelvis. So tuck the tailbone, untuck. This is a nice position to feel that pretty clearly. We're not tucking the tailbone here, but we're just seeing how accessible that is. Feel it deep in the core. Good. From here, pull the chest forward. Try to lift the chest up as you come to up dog. And notice how in up dog, your shoulders remain stacked over your palms, not behind them. Down dog. Inhale to plank position. Now I'm going to offer you 3 variations in plank. Yogis, if you have a frontal shoulder injury, this happens sometimes. It's happened to me actually. When I push too much like this, it strains the front of my shoulder. So for people with frontal shoulder injuries, or if you're just not quite strong enough yet, you can sink the chest down and draw the shoulder blades together in your plank pose. For those of you who are looking to build more strength for things like arm balances and handstands, you're going to be pushing the floor away maximally. For those of you like me who are just kind of pretty chill, you'll do something a little halfway. So naturally, the shoulder blades fall in the back, there's a little bit of space. We want to have just a tiny bit of space if that's the variation you're feeling today. Okay? In the hips, you have again that choice. See if you remember the natural curve in the back. And then there's also the option of posterior, that's back body, pelvic tilt. So the gymnasts call it PPT. That's this energy. That's how they do every plank pose. But if your body's not used to being pushed like that, it could potentially not be that good for you. And so you want to feel out what feels best for you and trust it. And know that whatever choice you make today, you can change tomorrow. You can change later in the practice. So continue to feel it out. Feel what works best for your body. Okay? From this position, we're all going to put our knees down. And then working on the Chaturanga, you're going to be taking your shoulders forward and you'll keep your elbows mostly over your wrists. So one thing that happens in level 1 classes a lot of times, even in level 2, 3 classes, the elbows go sideways or backward, and these knuckles, the base of the index finger, curls up. You can do knees down for your Chaturanga or knees up. I'm gonna demo knees down. And then from this position, the chest is going forward. Elbows stay mostly where they are. From here, I untuck my toes, pull the chest forward and up, and lift my knees. Down dog. Take a moment to digest that information. And I don't mean digest it analytically, I mean just breathe through it. Let's do it again. Plank pose. Okay, we're not taking the shoulders lower than the elbows. So the chest goes forward. If we sink down here, Simba just got fed. When we sink down, a lot of times, so we go from plank to Chaturanga. What happens here is we're putting a lot of tension in the front of the shoulder. It's easier because we're not using our strength to support ourselves. We're using the tendons and ligaments of the joint to support us. What we prefer to do to avoid what's called a repetitive strain injury, and also just to build more strength, is to keep the shoulders mostly elbow height. Now those of you who are super strong and can keep your shoulders engaged while you bring your chest to touch the floor, you're on your own. All right, this is for the newer folks. All right, so one more time, plank pose, knees up or down. Chest goes forward, elbows stay mostly stacked over the wrists. And then from here, knees down, tops of feet down, chest forward and up, knees up. Down dog. I'll show you another way to do that transition in a moment, but let's keep moving. Bend your right knee and press your left heel and thigh back as much as you can. Those of you who are really flexible, start to make a back bend here. So take your chest toward your right knee. At the same time, make sure you're not sinking in the chest. Push the floor away from you with your hands to keep your shoulders supported. Generally speaking, we want the joints to go against gravity, so we don't want to sink down, we want to push out. Switch sides. Call your attention to the back of the right leg and ask those muscles to relax. 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 Yes. All right. Lift both heels up. Move the chest toward the thighs. Open the upper back a little bit more. Maybe bend the knees to do so. Straighten the legs. Inhale, plank pose. We're going to lower toward Chaturanga. And then from here, you can try pushing the feet back and then pulling forward. That one tends to make my toe peel, so I don't like it, but it's an option. Down dog. Last one, inhale, plank. I know the arms are getting tired. Don't worry, we'll switch it up. Lowering Chaturanga. Right foot, left foot, up dog, but you notice the hips don't touch. Down dog. Look forward and step or hop your feet forward. Grab holds of your elbows and let gravity work on you. Notice what you notice. And then release, reach the arms up, Hands to heart center. Inhale, we reach. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, folds. Now we'll begin to open up the hamstrings more. Inhale, flat back. My bendy people, add a back bend. My tight people, hands to shins. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. 2 more. I love this. Sit back, chair pose. A lot of you know what's coming. It's a joyride. Go ahead, sit all the way down. Boat pose. We lay down and we draw the knees into the chest. So fun. Lift the chest up and extend the legs skyward. All right, so we're here setting up for the low boat. I prefer to do it from a reclined position because it gets the whole spine on the floor except for the part of the spine in the upper back and shoulder blades. But feel how the part of your spine below the belly button is touching. So this guy is all grounded. And then just take your feet as far forward as you can to keep that part of your spine grounding. So don't take your feet all the way down and have that lift. Just find your edge. That's your low boat today. Hold here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, hug the knees in, drop them to the left, gaze to the right. The shortest answer I can think of to almost all the questions about arm balances and inversions, almost. The shortest answer is more core work. But don't worry. We won't do that much more. All right, lay back, knees in, legs up, lower. Pull the knees in, lift your hips high. Try to keep your butt that high as you extend it. The hips will inevitably drop, but in your mind, you're asking it to resist. Knees in and extend. Exhale and reach. 3 more. 3, 2, 1. Pull it in. Rock back. Rock forth. Let's do that 2 more times because it's fun. And see if you make your way to standing. Go ahead, use your hands if you like. Reach the arms up. From here, feel the outer hips, so the inner thighs hugging in, the length of the shoulders like your down dog, the front ribs like a down dog. Look up, palms touch. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back position. And then step or hop your feet back. Yogi's choice. You can go through that vinyasa again or skip them and just go straight to down dog. Reach the right leg up and bend the knee, open the hip. So we do this after core work to stretch out the front of the hip. That core work we did makes the hip flexors pretty tight. Talk to the back of the left leg and ask it to ground to the best of your ability. Notice how your shoulders may have gotten kind of wonky. That's okay. We fix. Feel the outer left shoulder reach forward, the inner right shoulder reach forward. Straighten the leg and then level the hips. So now we're practicing not reaching the leg high, but rather hollowing the belly. So this style of a 3-leg down dog is with the core maximally engaged rather than the glutes maximally engaged and the hamstring stretching. So in this variation, I'm squeezing my butt more to reach the leg higher. In the one we're doing today, we're rolling the outer hip down and we're pulling the thigh into its socket. Come forward to a 3-legged plank position. Draw the knee into the chest and then try to step it forward. If it doesn't go, you just use your right hand. Reach the right arm up, hold here, and think of the right hip drawing back as the chest reaches forward. Warrior 1. Ground your back heel. See that your feet are heel to heel or maybe slightly wider apart. The reason we take the feet a little wider is because it's easier to draw that front hip back. Ideally, both of the hip bones are facing forward. No one wins a prize if they do. No one loses or hurts themselves if they don't. So, it's just tradition. Feel that outer hip reach forward, the front thigh draw back. Feel the low belly lifting and energy extending through your fingertips. Keep the core alive, alive. Feel the belly hollowing off of that right thigh as your heels hug toward each other for another 3, 2, straighten the front leg. Take your hands to your hips and forward fold halfway. With your mind, draw the right hip back a little bit more, and then hands to blocks or to the floor. Yogi's choice. My bendy folks can add that little back bend feeling. Otherwise, just continue to breathe. If you're feeling ready for more, you can reach the right arm up. That's not necessarily for everyone. Think of the right hip reaching to the back of the space. Hold here for 3. Don't worry, we'll do this again, so if you don't feel you're warm enough yet, we'll get there. 2, warrior 1. And now we open to the side, warrior 2. When we go from warrior 1 to warrior 2, our stance gets longer front to back and narrower side to side. So the right foot moves across the mat and the back foot spreads out. Additionally, that back foot went from pointing forward because our hip was forward, stay in your warrior 2. In warrior 1, when the hip is forward, the knee and ankle mostly want to be aligned in the same so the knee doesn't take too much torque. Warrior 2, your whole body is facing in sideways except for that front leg. So in this position, make sure you can see the big toe from the inner step of the knee because this is mostly a hip opener for the front leg. Think of the heels drawing in, bend your knee a little bit more and lift the chest. Turn your front palm to face the ceiling and reverse. Stretch here, just enjoy it. Let's not get too analytical for a moment. Talking too much. Come back to warrior 2. Straighten the front leg. Feel your outer right hip draw back as you reach the right side of your waist forward. So you're not hunching down, you're extending, and then just the arms revolve. Feel free to use a block. Hold here. Come back to your warrior 2. Now watch what the spine does when you reverse. Come back to warrior 2. Watch what the spine does when you trikonasana. See if you can notice or feel the difference. Besides the directions. Come back to warrior 2. Cartwheel the hands down, step back and go through a vinyasa or skip it. We meet in down dog. I'll give you the answers in a moment, but at the same time, you may draw a conclusion that I wouldn't have, and then you can text me about it and I can learn. So go ahead and think for yourself. Inhale, lift the left leg up, bend the knee and open the hip. Sometimes too much expert opinions rob us of the opportunity to have our own insights. And so I want you to make sure that you give yourself the space to try to figure it out. Yoga's not rocket science. Straighten the left leg and roll the hip down and feel the thigh bone hollow into its socket. 3-legged plank. Draw the knee in. Maybe you step. Maybe you have a little aided step. Reach the left arm up. So for those of you who are teachers, I usually like to have some twist. We did one earlier before the core work, but some twisting before warrior 1. It just makes warrior 1 more accessible. And then ground the back heel. Notice that it's angled forward. Heel to heel, maybe slightly wider. Reach the arms up. Feel the heels drawing in and the chest, the arms reaching skyward. We bend a little deeper, hold here. 3, 2. See if you remember how to shift your feet, warrior 2. Continue to feel the heels hugging in as you lift the torso up. Turn the front palm up, reverse. So now we're in a rainbow shape in the spine. Come back up, straighten the front leg, pull the left hip back. The spine is mostly straight here, so it's just the hips that are tilting. Warrior two. Keep the hips the same as warrior two as reverse, reverse. And then cartwheel the hands down, step the foot back. And then from here we flow. I think it's about time to add those little handstand kicks, don't you? Look forward between your palms. Be bold. If you're afraid to hop, just be lame for a second. Let it be awkward. Go ahead. Hop forward. Try again. Okay, we all meet at the front of the mat. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a moment. Just remind yourself of the good life choice you took during your quarantine to be taking care of your body, easing your stress. Now we do a little grace under fire. Just a little bit of stress. It's fun. It's good for you. Reach the arms up. Exhale, forward folds. With a light heart, everything is easy, even failure. Okay? From this position, the index fingers are pointing forward. You're going to step your feet back a comfortable distance. So those of you who have tighter hamstrings, your feet are going to be further back. Okay? You lift your left leg, and you're going to draw your shoulders forward so that they stack mostly over the palms. From this position, as you hop up with the right foot and push back, your chest has to go forward. Okay? Try it again. So as you hop up, the chest goes forward. So we're doing Chaturanga, playing Chaturanga, and the feet go back. Cool beans. All right, let's try the other side. Go ahead, take the left foot. Find that comfortable distance. And if you're starting to spiral and like, oh, I can't do this, this is annoying, just look at one spot on the floor and try to figure it out. All right, this is where we are. This is what we're dealing with. You don't ever have to do it again, but let's stay with it. All right, eyes forward, bend the knee, hop, push. Fun. And you don't have to push up coming out of it. That can be exhausting. Go ahead and push back. And you can just do the tiniest bend. Up dog, down dog. So don't feel like you need to go to the full Chaturanga. Just bend your arms enough so that the elbows don't absorb too much pressure, especially if you're someone who tends to lock the elbows, okay? You want to feel that the elbows bend enough so that the muscles are supporting the elbow joint, okay? One more time. On the right side, lift the left leg up, chest forward, and then your eyes are forward to help remind your chest to go further forward. Try not to lose your core, try not to lose your low back. So think a little bit of that scared cat as you look forward, hopping up and pushing back. Up dog, down dog. Inhale, reach the right leg up. Exhale, draw the knee into the chest and step forward. Inhale, warrior one, reach the arms up. Exhale, interlace the fingers behind your back. Lift the chest. Good. And then from here, straighten the front leg and forward fold. Feel the hips drawing back. If that's a lot for you, you can release the arms and place them on the blocks. Hold here for 3, 2, and then everybody place your hands on the floor or on blocks. We're going to move to that twisted triangle now. You'll talk to your outer right hip and ask it to reach back. You'll wrap the left side of your waist underneath you and extend the right arm up. Notice if you're compressing in the shoulders, try to make your wingspan big like warrior two. So lifting out of the right shoulder and the left. Feel the revolving happening from the waist as the right hip draws back. If you need to lift the back heel, it's fine. It's fine. I won't tell anyone. Warrior one, come back up. Warrior two. Reverse. So now we have that curve in the spine. The hips are the same. Warrior two. Now we're going to do warrior or triangle pose hips, but side angle pose. So it's the same hips. Trikonasana, hips, shift, and then you take your hand to the block or the floor. The other arm goes overhead. Hold here for another 3. Really use the stretch, the grounding of the foot, the reaching of the fingers to maximize this pose. Warrior two. And then cartwheel the hands to either side of your front foot and get ready to kick to handstand. Eyes on one spot, perhaps a little forward. Go ahead. Go through your vinyasa. There we go. Fun, right? Yes. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Draw the knee into the chest and step forward. Warrior one. Come on up. From here, keep the lifting of the low belly. Interlace the unusual way. So whichever way you usually lace your fingers, from the pinky all the way up. Switch. Lift the chest. Straighten the front leg and forward fold. Okay, we want to feel that the quad, the muscle on top of the thigh on that front leg is lifted so that the knee is better supported. If you have the blocks, of course, use them already. And then we'll all meet with our fingers down. The left hip is going to draw back. The left arm will reach up. We're not sinking in the shoulders. We're broad. We're feeling the right side of our waist revolve. We're holding here for 3. Neck is long. You can look down if it doesn't feel good for you to look up. 2. Warrior one. Coming back up. Warrior two. Reverse. Warrior two. Shift the hips, spine is straight, hand either to the or forearm to the thigh, hand to the block, or down. But we want to do our best not to be rounding here. Like Trikonasana, the spine is mostly straight, so that's why we have the different variations that you can do with the bottom arm. Top arm reaches overhead, giving you a nice stretch from the back foot through the fingertips. Hold for another 3, 2, warrior two, and now we get to handstand. Cartwheel the hands down. From here, eyes on one spot forward, and then just plant a thought in your mind and say it really loudly. Maybe out loud, maybe just like louder in your mind, like Marisha, just do it. Nike had that, right? Just do it. You got this. Who cares? Have fun. Go for it. And then we meet back in the downward facing dog. Larger inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Let's do another one of those. Inhale and out the mouth. Keep the hips level. Reach the right leg up. Exhale, draw the knee in, and then remember you have your choice, however you want to step forward. Go ahead, inhale, warrior one. Exhale, straighten the front leg. Forward fold. We're going to keep the hands down this time. Feel that hip drawing back. Now extend the spine forward. Put a slight bend in the right knee and step off your back foot. The blocks are here. You're in a standing split kind of shape. And then from this position, feel free to open your hips. Reach the top leg higher. Okay? Think of the chest moving toward the shin of the standing leg. Nowadays, it's unpopular to have the hips asymmetric, but for really the vast majority of bodies, it's okay. We do it in down dog all the time. Teachers always have us open the hips, but in standing splits, we've gotten scared. And I would just say, feel your body. If it doesn't feel good for your low back or your hip, don't open your hips. But if it feels okay, don't hold yourself back. Maybe you even want to grab a hold of the top foot and fold in. Maybe like, Marisha, I'm just like hanging in there, girl. Cool. You just hang in there. And then slowly, we step the foot way back again. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Warrior two. Now we're gonna go for half moon pose. Okay, for this one, you'll look forward of your foot. You'll take your block with you in your hand. If you fall, it's okay. Stay with it. It's a little, and in this position, I've placed myself like this so you can see the block is underneath my shoulder. It's not in line with my foot. That just makes it easier to open out here. I'll leave that as enough. Bend the front knee, step back, one more reverse. Exhale, cartwheel both hands down. Time for a little handstand kick. You got this, and we flow. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Exhale, knee to chest. You can use your helper hand. Warrior one. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, straighten the front leg and forward fold. And then put a slight bend in the front knee. Come forward. Okay, go ahead. You feel free to hang out here, taking deep breaths. Or you can hang out here, taking deep breaths. Yogi's choice. Make it feel good for you. Notice if there is, I know in some of our cultures there's a tendency to judge if we can do a more advanced pose or not. I just think it's so silly. These poses are for fun, for learning, for developing more body awareness and discipline. They're not really for achievement, so just know that. Bend the front knee. We're gonna all make our way back to warrior one, warrior two, reverse, and then we half moon it. Okay, so from here, look forward. I got this. I got this. Kind of, sort of. Yeah? All right, got it. Okay, in this position, if you're just hanging on for balance, just hang on. Looking down underneath where your eye sockets are is going to be most helpful for balance. If you want more, think of the outer hip, just like Trikonasana, of that standing leg drawing back. So this is the most common mistake I see in the Ardha Chandrasana. Feel the outer hip pull back, the side of the waist reach forward, and then that twisting. So you're facing sideways. And then slowly step back with style, warrior two. And then we cartwheel the hands down, eyes on the spot, hop up. We meet in child's pose. Place your forehead down. Feel your breath. Notice if right away there's a temptation to understand your breath, to call it, to label it. Just feel it. See if you can absorb sensation without having to attach ideas to it. It's a deeper wisdom, the wisdom of feeling and intuition. And then lift yourself up. Cool. So we did do a little bit of back bending. We're going to just take that further and add some hip flexor stretching, which we did as well. Take your hands behind you and then start to lift the hips up and feel your lower back. Move carefully if it feels tender. To be conservative, you can do that posterior pelvic tilt. So tuck your tailbone toward your knees as you push up and draw the shoulder blades together. Holding here for 3, 2, and sit back down. Roll out your wrists. If you couldn't reach, I got a plan for you. You're gonna use the blocks. Same thing. Okay? For those of you who are ready for more, you can hold on to your feetsies. Press down and lift. If you're somewhere between, Actually, let's all go ahead, come onto your, except for those of you who are using the blocks. Otherwise, I think pushing from the seated position is just going to be too much on the low back. All right, so yogi's choice. You can have yourself stretching like so, or with the hands on the floor, or we meet here. We think of the sternum lifting. We draw the shoulder blades up and back. And then from this position, toes tucked is easiest to reach. Notice which hand reaches first. 1, 2, lift the chest. Try not to think of the pelvis splaying forward, but draw the belly back, lift the chest higher, and then slowly lift up. Bring the feet together. My, the time flies. Last one. If you feel like you need a break, just hang out. You lift up, hands to prayer. Whichever hand you reached first, you'll do the opposite. Lift the chest. 1, 2. Pop the chest higher. Hold. Once again, we're not squeezing the butt so much that we can't feel the low back. So you can engage the glutes some if that's in your practice, but just notice that there's not so much compression in the lower back. We lift up, cross the ankles and sit. Take the legs forward. Go ahead and take your right leg and cross the foot over the left thigh and hug your right knee. Take your right hand behind you and lift your chest. We hold here for 3, 2, release, and then we'll take it to the other side. Cross the ankle. We'll give it a little hug first. So this is a more gentle twist. Fingertips behind you and lift the chest. We hold for 3, 2, and release. We're going to do a side bend now. Go ahead and take your right arm beside you, left arm up and overhead. Stretch, 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 rock forward. Second side, stretch, stretch, stretch. Come back to center, and now we lay back. Hug your knees into your chest and find a happy baby pose. So your hands will grab hold to the pinky toe sides of your feet. Your buttocks will reach away from you as your hands pull your feet down. If you want to add another layer, the feet press up to the ceiling. And then hug your knees into your chest and find your way into Savasana. So have the palms face up by your side. Jaw, the eyes are relaxed. Feel the feet relaxed. The belly. Let the air just naturally fall in and out. And just know that in any moment, there are an infinite number of things that you can notice. In order to create a reality that you love, notice the things you love. Continue to say thank you, I love you over and over to each of those things. Build a world you love, or rather, wake up to it. Thank you all so very much. I'll leave you here. Continue to rest if you like.